Good afternoon, YouTube. My name's Joe Woody. And sometimes I like to talk about combat sports. Today I want to talk about Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul. And two striking techniques in particular, and which one I think will prevail on the night of the fight. Two things to probably say before I get into it. Number one, I'm just a guy talking to my cell phone, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt. And number two, both guys we're going to be talking about stand in an orthodox stance. And what that basically means is their left hand is going to be forward and their right hand is going to be back. Another way you can think about this is speed hand up front, power hand in back. Let's jump right into it with Tyron Woodley. How is T. Wood going to win this fight? Well, he's got one technique that's followed him through his entire career, and he's been very successful with that technique. And that's called, or I guess I call it, the looping overhand right. You can think of guys like Chuck Liddell who are very successful with this technique. And it looks a little something like this. From Jake Paul's point of view, he would see T. Wood jump in, close a gap, and try to come down with that punch. Now, how is T. Wood going to utilize this technique? Well, as I said, he's going to want a gap in between both fighters. So Woodley's probably going to do a whole lot of backing up and side-to-side movement so he can keep that gap. He doesn't want Jake being too close to him. He doesn't want to fight in a phone booth, and this has been particular of his entire career. So, again, to utilize this technique, he'll try to keep that distance, keep it back, move side to side, whatever he has to do, and when he's good and ready, he'll use his athleticism and his strength to explode in and come down from over the top with that looping right hand. Let's look at Jake Paul from his side of view. His one great technique that I think cannot be overlooked and it can't be underestimated. I've seen 2 out of the 3 Jake Paul contests. Both contests were ended with the same punch. Straight right hand, right down the middle. That technique looks a little something like this. Boom! Now, how's Jake Paul going to implement this technique? Well, Jake Paul, unlike Tyron Woodley, he wants to control the distance, but he doesn't want a big gap. So he's going to continue to press forward with his jab hand. Keep his jab hand out there and follow Tyron around the ring. And when he gets good and ready, he'll stick out this jab hand. All this is a measuring stick. This jab hand will tell him exactly how far he can extend and what his reach is with his power hand. And you can think of the jab hand as kind of like a counter lever. As soon as he gets good and ready to explode with that right hand, he'll have his measurement. As soon as he pulls back with that left hand, the right hand will come straight down the middle. So, those are 2 pretty good striking techniques. Which one do I think will prevail that night? What's my prediction? Well, honestly, I don't know. Anything can happen. It's a fist fight. But if I did have to say something about it, what I'd say is that, in my opinion, a straight strike or even a cross will always find its target much faster than a looping hook or a looping overhand right. So, yeah, although it pains me to say this, I think Jake Paul wins this contest with a straight right hand right down the middle. And now that we got the technique stuff out of the way, I think there's also 2 things that Tyron Woodley really needs to keep in mind. It'll be interesting to see if these 2 things follow him to the ring. But I think that the fact that Tyron Woodley is a former champion in the #1 premier mixed martial arts organization in the world squarely puts all the pressure of this fight on him. He has to perform, he has to win, and not win by points, but he has to finish this guy. He has to win in devastating fashion. So that's a lot of pressure to be had on him. And secondly, something that's not really in his control is that if he hits that canvas for any reason whatsoever, even if T. Wood is able to get up to his feet, look at the referee and say, I'm okay, I'm ready to go, they're going to stop that fight. Just like they did with Ben Askren. So T. Wood has got to know that if he hits that canvas, it's over. And I don't really see a whole lot of outside pressures following Jake Paul to the ring. So I think he's going to be nice and relaxed and nice and calm. And a relaxed fighter is usually a faster fighter. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Well, I guess that's my 2 cents. As always, thank you for listening. Be good, be safe. Boom.